is Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 o'clock by Don in lovely Denver.
Colorado. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Mike's down in sunny Florida, so we're in two really nice climate zones. And the climate here on LinkTank is just as well. We launched LinkTank membership already before half the day's over. Got 2 members, and looking for more. I still got to pinch myself to see how much we're giving away, and I'm not hyping it for how little we're getting. But our loss is your gain, as they say. And if we got to do a little bit more to prove the value of what we can bring to the table, I think that's a great exercise. So, with that said, one of the keys to getting on LinkedIn and getting very good on LinkedIn is to naturally acquire the ideal client, right? Hopefully that's the result. So initially, to start out with, how do you start on that journey to get to the ideal client? And when you got an end game, it seems like everything else kind of folds into it. When you got a front game where you're just going forward and take it as it comes, it's kind of pot luck at that point. So, me and Mike have learned over the time we've been spending on LinkedIn, which is considerable, is that time is essential. Efficiency of your time, but mostly return on your time, is fundamental for you to be successful here. So starting with the ideal client is a pretty good way. And, we're trying to get subject matter that, addresses the people just getting started, the people middle range, and some of the advanced people. And any feedback you have or subject matter you'd like us to bring up or discuss, feel free to reach out and share in comments or direct message us. So, Mike, you're an expert, no question about it, on really identifying, qualifying ideal customers, and ultimately, where the rubber meets the road, closing them. So, what's your take?
Yes, Don. Yeah, it is exciting. We've got a buy button, and we've been talking about that for a month. And thanks for your hard work. And I'm so excited that for the people that are going to be in the program. Key and crucial for any program is to reverse engineer who you want to work with, who you want to work for, what do you want to deliver, who do you want to deliver it to, what's the impact you're going to make for them, and where are you going to take them. One of the great things that we do when we bring clients in for the Done For You program is I take them through really the entire first consulting meeting is really understanding ideal customer. It's so important. Not only is it important to really identify like who that person is, and I'm not really saying like, oh, it's Sally and she's 56 and she has 2 dogs and she's got kids. Like many of the ideal customer workbooks, take you through the exercise, but I find it to be, any exercise like that, you work on your business, not in your business is good. But for what we're doing, it kind of misses the mark. It misses the mark. And it's so important to understand the ideal customer because it frames everything that you do. Everything that you do. I wanted to bring up just a couple quick things to show. Let me share my screen here. And, this is the way that Don and I operate, is that we provide a maximum value for free. So what you're looking at is my Canva account. And these are all of the PDFs and everything that I've developed. This is the stuff that we use internally. Let me just move this out of here away again. We develop this stuff internally. And then once we get it and we have a good working model, then we pretty it up and we put it in a format that people can download and most important, they can use. And this diagram, most people have seen it. It's on my signature. It's on LinkedIn, the LinkedIn profile. And this really becomes the key because this is really everything that has to happen on LinkedIn. And what you want to be able to do is identify where your people are now. That's the bottom left. And then you want to be identify when after they're done working with you, whether it's a SaaS platform of financial advisors, attorneys, service-based industries, what do they now experience? This
Mhm.
part that you take them through, which is down here, which is experiencing challenges and efficiency, to up here, more efficient, effective, and free. So the key concept behind all of this, people aren't buying all your features and benefits, they're buying the transformation. So if you identify this, which everyone should be able to, and it formulates everything that you do on LinkedIn, and it formulates everything you do on LinkedIn, formulates to produce content, the headlines. You're going to do surveys, the surveys. You're going to do videos, the videos. I share with people the difference between inbound and outbound. And inbound, we have very little control. So we think, right? We do our on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn gets excited and they give us big visibility, right? That big visibility then formulates a wave of energy and education and thought leadership that then create inbound. But if you're talking about problems that, say, companies that are startups have, then LinkedIn broadcasts you globally. Who do you think is going to be tuning into your station? Right? It's going to be people that relate to those problems. So when Don said earlier about reverse engineering, like for instance, we have, Don's got a code program. I've got the cloud selling, the Done For You program. My target audience for the Done For You are people are established in business. They're at mid seven figures, going to eight figures. That's our ideal customer. I'm talking about problems that companies like that have with multiple employees and the challenges of scaling. And what we want to attract through the posts and the things I put out with are people in that category that have those problems. But if I'm not crystal clear on my ideal customer and like I want to service, then you can see everything breaks down. And this is what Don and I talk about so often. It's like you're literally throwing darts. Done. Like when you speak to people, they have no plan, right? So they start, they stop, they think LinkedIn's good, then they think LinkedIn's bad, right? I mean, share a little bit about what you see on your end.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because while you were talking, and I think you make some excellent points, you have to really realize that everybody came into LinkedIn not knowing very much, right? And LinkedIn doesn't give you a map or a strategy and tell you what to do and how to do it to be successful. So you start out doing the best you can, and naturally you think people are the currency on LinkedIn. So the more connections you have, the more followers you have, you feel you're building maybe an army. But where you're making a mistake, and it's only a mistake once you get smart, is that these people aren't your ideal customer, right? And throwing a huge net out to everybody with a message that will attract anybody will pretty much get you nobody at the end of the cycle. Plus, you're going to hear, and I know people tell themselves, man, I'm working so hard on LinkedIn. I'm making connections, I'm commenting, I'm exchanging stuff. Yeah, but once you trim the fat, right, and say how many of these conversations, even if I was successful, would create an ideal customer? And they're really not there. So the point is, and we've been talking about it, is you can wait for inbound, and that's like Mike says, come willy-nilly, and maybe you're lucky, maybe you don't. But while that's happening, you can go outbound, right? Who are you waiting by the phone hoping will call you? Well, you call them first. It only makes sense. And the more you do, I'll tell you a funny story. Two kids go to a high school dance, two boys. One says to the other boy, I'm going to dance with Alice before the night's over. And the guy says, good luck. And he goes across the thing and says, do you want to dance? And by the fifth girl, he's dancing. The other guy's sitting there all night trying to get the courage up, and he doesn't. He never danced, right? So while you're waiting for the courage, while you're waiting for what you think you don't have, reach out to the people who you want to work with and justify that. I mean, in the real world or the physical world, how much time, how much investment were you willing to make to get in front of a customer, right? An ideal client. Well, how much of that transfers to LinkedIn? Not much when you look at the energy, the time, and everything else. So the point is what Mike's saying is if you know your ideal customer, not only do you have an end game, you've got something to measure against when people get in front of you, right? If someone sends you to a grocery store a list, if it ain't on the list, you don't buy it, right? If they're not an ideal customer, you don't reach out to them and you don't reach back to them, right? And now you conserve your time and you don't have to account to anybody because the score takes care of itself, right? So we're just looking to make the best use of our time, your time, and collectively all our time. And I think that's where the LinkTank membership comes in is what we're doing today and what we're doing every Tuesday and Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern is knowledge share, right? What we're learning, we're sharing in real time to anybody who wants to listen. And for $47 a month, I'll give the secret price away on the air. You can have an unbelievable resource of trainings, support, and we're doing an hour as part of this program every Friday. Getting back to the ideal customer, how many customers could you satisfy right now if they came in the door? 3, 4, 5, tops? Well, that's all you need to find, right? You know, we're talking 810 million people on LinkedIn. It's massive. What it tells you is bring it down, distill it. And if you've got a specific niche, work it. I was talking to a gentleman today and he's got a newsletter going, he's got videos going, he's building mountains everywhere, and it'll take forever for any mountain to come to fruition. And the idea is take what you have against your ideal customer or with your ideal customer, no matter what it takes to invest in that. Because at the end of the day, you know the lifetime value or the real value if you close a deal. And in LinkedIn, you win two ways. Either you learn or you earn or you do both, right? So someone could be a mentor, someone could be a colleague or a JV, and somebody else could be ideal. Plus, what you do, people see what you do, and that gives you the reputation they see you as. So if you're doing neat stuff to them, right, and they're attracted to you, then people like them will be attractive to you. So it's simple until it isn't, right? And once you have that, and you know, here's what I'm doing on my training, is what I learned is a lot of people go in don't know much. A lot of people definitely go in and do things wrong, and they build on it, right? And they got a shaky foundation until you go back after a year or two and say, hey, let some fresh eyes look at this. You know, throw it on the table. What do you got here? Right? Put it back together this way, and then put the mold of what somebody like me or Mike are doing on top of it, and put it in that strategic model. You know, and I was talking to a gentleman today. Is everybody should have a 30-day plan, right? Whatever it is, and everybody should have. We talked about that in other meetings. A content calendar, right? And that all relates against your ideal customer. And these are simple things. And through Mike's program and through my program, we can align you properly and then support you going forward. And, you know, it gives you, if you were a Tesla, a lot more range. So, Mike, you know, I think we covered ideal customer pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, please.
What I want, what I want to do is just go through quickly. I want to get my screen sharing going again. Two things. One, the open this to really spark some. That's the best way to open this. I guess this is good. So when you go through your ideal customer, like just a couple points I want to know, and then we're going to go into LinkedIn and do some searches. But this is key that you're producing your content for one person in mind. And it's kind of hard from a copywriting standpoint if you started talking about we and I want to help a bunch of people because you always really need to write your copy as you're speaking one to one. So what you got to find out who that one to one is, and so the avatar is really what the focus is, and what we want to look at is your favorite clients that you already have. So you can cheat on this, right? And you're not going to start from scratch. You can look at, okay, I've got 20 or 50 or 100 clients over the last couple of years. Who are my favorite clients? Who are the clients that basically did the best? Who are the clients that bought everything I had? That had the highest lifetime value? That had the and greatest stickiness? So these are all pretty easy data points to get from your prior list. That'll help you shortcut that. And then you can actually go into what I like to do is talk about in terms of what are their fears, right? What going back to the earlier conversation, people are stuck in one place or another. Let me just close this door. One place or another, they they're looking for a transformation. They're looking to go from where they are to a better place. In that stuckness is where you want to address the fears, what they fear most, what's causing them the most pain, what keeps them up at night, and also frustrations. Because a lot of times, maybe they're not so fearful, but they're just so frustrated. You're a SaaS platform, and people know that project management software stinks. It's save them time. It doesn't have to team using. It's not. That's frustration. So if you got a project management solution, top is able to get indoctrinated and use it, utilize it, then that's where these conversations would come in. And then, of course, people have the next aspect was hope and desires. What do they hope to see? What's possible that they're not actually achieving? So these are sort of some big ideas in terms of identifying the ideal customer. And when you look at LinkedIn, this is really where the magic happens, and most people don't focus on this. We focus on this on almost every mastermind meeting. We're in LinkedIn doing stuff because without doing anything, nothing's going to happen, right, Don?
Yeah,
So
and not doing, but being open to changing stuff as you go.
yeah, yep, do it, change, optimize, measure, exactly. So if you go into this is a magical place. Here it allows you to play around and start to look at is this the set of my ideal customers? And so the first thing to do is say, okay, well, I want to be speaking to orthodontists. I shouldn't have picked that because how am I going to spell that?
Oh,
Oh, exactly. I should know how to spell this because my dad was a dentist. Uh, O-R. Now I got a spell check. Orthodontist. So say it was orthodontists. Yeah, that's a group. Um, well, one thing that can happen is you can then use these bubbles and say, okay, orthodontists. And when you say people, it's going to then force LinkedIn to show you the people that have author directly in the names or in their info section. So this is pretty cool because it's showing me 48,000 results. Now, Don said earlier, like how many clients do you need? 4, 8, 10, 15, 20, 100, 200, 500? It's 48,000. So from here, and of course, if you go to Sales Navigator, you get a lot more tools and features, but we wanted to do this for today here to show you how this can work for you here. Then you can start to say, okay, well, I want to author in the United States. Like I'm not dealing with anything outside the United States. Now you're at 11,000 orthodontists. That's still a pretty big number. And then you can actually say all filters. And you can say, oh, I do have a pretty big list of mine. So maybe I want to work my list first. And so then you would hit first connections. And then you could say, show me the results. So in mine, I've got basically one orthodontist, which makes sense because I'm not sharing information that would really help orthodontists. So I have one. Um, but if this is your business and this is what you're talking about, then that might be somewhere where you see a lot more. If I don't click first, then I'll end up with a bigger list, and then I can actually go down here and take a look at some of the other filters. Now, actually say, all right, I want people that are proficient in English or not, or this is an inside trick. I only want to work with women, men on LinkedIn. And you can't do that. There's not a filter, but you could put the first name of Alice. And then that obviously there's not that many men named Alice, and that's going to give you two. So then you could just keep going and build a list of the female by using widely known and accepted female names. Kind of a hack to do that, but it still would give you that sort of opportunity. You could also then go in and say, all right, I want orthodontists that follow the top consultant to orthodontist, right? So I don't know who that is, but there's got to be top consultant to orthodontist. So there's got to be. Um, let's see. And just you can get there's a million lists: top 10 orthodontics companies, top 5 dental consultants. Maybe we'll do dental consultants. So you got to do a little bit of research. The best, but this is a top dental consultant. But you might say, okay, let's look at this one here, the digital dentist. So one of the things that you can do is go on LinkedIn. You would do a little bit of more research first, but you would then go on LinkedIn here and you could say followers of and add a creator. So the digital dentist. Now, I'm not sure if they're, but certainly this shows you that you could follow people that you knew were in that category, but also had interests as well. And so what did that give it? Let me see my filters. Did it accept it? Maybe they're not, the digital dentist isn't here. But let's just say, okay, Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay, so now I'm following orthodontists that I know like to grow their company. I want to consult orthodontists that want to grow their company. Because I included Gary Vaynerchuk, I know that they are interested in Gary Vaynerchuk. So here's an orthodontist that likes to grow their company. So this is a pretty tight list, right? There's 111 here. And this would be, to me, a great way to triangulate and try to figure out, okay, are the type of people that I want to be able to sell to? That's what we're making. As Don says, we are trying to figure out, reverse engineer who we want to do business with. And so you can just take a look. Now, this is the next thing that people don't do is they say, all right, there's 111 here, but let's look at some. Because you can add other creators in there and you can triangulate other ways. But this is going to give us chairman and co-founder of Ortho Buddy, orthodontist and owner, New York City, orthodontist and owner, New York City. So you're like, yeah, this is coming up with founder, CEO, Neo Dental Centers in Colorado. It's out by you, Don.
Yeah.
So this is definitely getting me orthodontist, DDS, orthodontist. So now I would say, okay, this is my list. I do customer, check. I know I want to help them grow their business. So I know, okay, I want to create an outcome, check. Now you would go into what we were talking about in the meeting a couple weeks ago was okay. Now what do you do? Now it comes to adding value, connecting, and then starting conversations. What would be a good way to start a conversation?
Well, here's another important point that doesn't always get appreciated is when you do narrow the list down to who your ideal client customer is, you also get to have a message that's more attuned to it, right? So if you already know the 12 or 15 because of how you filtered, then that's the message you need to portray in the message, right? I was only looking for people who do this and this, you fit perfectly, blah, blah, blah. And, that's the beginning. The other nice thing of picking 12 or 15, ask yourself, how much are you going to really do a day, right? If you only do 5, 6 a day, 12 will get you 2 days worth of work. And after 2 days worth of work, you'll see how the 12 did. At that point, you got a huge list you could choose from, or you can tweak it again and say out of the 12, the only 2 people that did something fit this category, right? So you expand that category, limit the other one. It's like going to the eye doctor where they keep flipping 2 or 3, 1 or 2, A or B. And eventually, when you get done telling them what works better, you got good glasses, right? This
Yeah.
is the same thing. You're really going in and trying to get the alignment between your ideal customer and who is on LinkedIn. And then again, get the message. And ultimately, you have to have value. Really, winning the prize and not being able to take advantage of it makes no sense, right? So if you've got something that's already set up for people in this category, and maybe that's a factor in your judgment of who you put in your initial list, are the people that can take advantage of what you have and would appreciate what you have. So you work backwards, frontwards, tie message in with the choices you make, and then have the opportunity that's a natural alignment with it. So, we could run it off really quick, but it's because we've been doing this for a couple of years every day, right? And it comes second nature to us. And I think that's one of the purposes and reasons for LinkTank is things we take for granted are enormous nuggets of learning for people who didn't learn it, right? And
Yeah.
that's key.
Yeah. And then, just to kind of add just a couple little things and then we'll sort of tie it out for this segment of Link Tank. Don's talking about the Link Tank coaching and mastermind community that we built that is now live. You can see the link. We've really an outrageous deal. It's affordable. It's $47 a month. So don't think like, oh my God, I can't afford it. You can. We've discounted everything like 90%, and you'll get $10,000 worth of trainings and bonuses that we're using live today to join us. The point is, when you're in there, this is the type of stuff we do in a deep dive, and this is where the magic really starts because on the surface level, nobody. They're poking around on LinkedIn, and this basically everyone walks away and says, that LinkedIn doesn't work for me. I hear, all that happens on LinkedIn is I get spam with messages now. So what? I'm showing you in this little thing that we did that now we know that this dentist likes Chuck, so he's into marketing. And we just found another one that is beautiful, which is Tony Robbins, 7 million followers. So why not follow orthodontists that love Tony Robbins? Because then you have something to say because they're into self-mastery. So when you open a line with an orthodontist that's into Tony Robbins that also loves marketing, you have a unique advantage over all the machines and automation doing outbound because they don't know shit. And the fact that you're getting bombarded with stupid messages makes the message that you can create. And I can say, Zach, like I would say to Zach, I was just checking you out. I love what you're doing. It's some kind of, relatability for me. It's like, hey, my dad was a dentist. It's a love-hate relationship with the business. But more importantly, I see that you're into personal development and you love marketing. Gary V is a big inspiration of mine. And I never walked across any of the fire coals yet, but it's something I do want to do. I did see the show on Netflix. What'd you think of the show? Perhaps we can jump on Zoom and see how we can help each other. So that person gets that message. It wasn't that tough because I have a list of 111 people that like Gary Vaynerchuk. But then I can do a list of people that like Tony Robbins. I can do a list like everybody's industry has leaders. If you're into tech, then Elon Musk or there's a so there's so many ways to be able to do it. The important thing is to do it. That's what Don and I always say. Now we just gave you a few ideas of, okay, how do I identify my ideal customer? Why should I do it? Reverse engineer who I want to be working with. Some secrets really on LinkedIn, not even on Sales Navigator where you can get really dialed in, but just on straight up LinkedIn, some secrets that you can walk away this afternoon and say, wow, Don and Mike spoke about this cool thing. I'll make a list of 100. I'll do 10 a day. That gives me 10 days. That's Monday through Friday. That's 2 weeks. Measure my results on 10 outbounds a day. I'll give you a cheat sheet that if you're doing things well, you should get 50% conversion from cold outreach to acceptance. And then from there, the magic's up to you to ask them to jump on a Zoom meeting. Depending on your sales cycle, you're in the game and it costs you nada. Everything we just spoke about is free. It's on LinkedIn. They're providing you the information. This is firsthand information of this guy, Zach Frazier, telling me that he likes Tony Robbins and Gary Vaynerchuk.
Well, I think what it speaks to is it's, and you do it so well, Mike, is just having quality conversations with people you relate and admire, hopefully, right? And you have enough value that they'll find you attractive. And that's really key. People try to make more of it. Look at if you ran into Zach, right, at a conference, right? What would you say to him? Pretty much what Mike said, right? You wouldn't be selling them stuff the first thing you say, or you wouldn't be telling them who they are before you got a chance to know them. But here's where you win, is by being different than everybody else in how you approach people from the beginning. There's another quick story. 2 investment bankers go up to the mountains to buy some property. And they're hanging around after a long walk. And all of a sudden, one looks around, sees a mountain lion, right? And then his buddy starts putting his shoes on, his gym shoes. And the guy says, hey, you're never going to outrun a mountain lion. He says, yeah, I know that, but I can outrun you, right? So at the end of the day, whoever can do different, more, faster, better shows themselves as being a champion, right? This is a visual as much as an audio, if that's a word. Yeah. And the point is get excited every day to say, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try something different. It's only doing the same old, getting the same result. It's like watching a movie thinking there's going to be a different ending. At a certain point, you got a neutral and a reverse gear. Hang in there for a minute and shift gears. And if you don't know, that's why we're here. Why do it alone? There's no value to that. And if we're wrong, we'd be living a lie up until this day for what we've been doing, right? And I think Mike's right. The only thing that's required is desire, teachability, and a little bit more long-term approach, and giving yourself a break. Don't judge too quickly or severely. LinkedIn is there today, tomorrow, and it'll be there long before we're gone, right? And no one takes full advantage of the opportunity. So I think this is a critical juncture in me and Mike's trajectory and how people meet us. The other thing I want to make sure people know in this group is we're putting on an hour every Friday of training and relevant information for everybody too. So you get an hour with us, plus whoever joins early naturally is going to have more of us, right? If we start a meeting with 5 people, it's 5 and me and Mike. A year from now, it could be 5,000 with me and Mike. And here's the other thing, we have a network that's huge, right? If you're good, we want to show you off because we want to help the people we know. So look at that opportunity. So between networking, learning, support, and everything else, and we need you to say we're winning too at what we do because we're success driven. And we'd like to put some big numbers up on the board, and we're willing to support people to get there. So anyways, I think this is beautiful. I hope everybody came away today with something that was maybe an aha moment, maybe in their mind that kind of clicked something, maybe enough to get moving this afternoon and say, maybe I'll skip that sitcom I was going to watch for 40 minutes and maybe work on myself. And I think that's really the key. The game is between you and yourself. Make the investment. You're worth it, because if you're satisfied with nothing happening, is that fair to everybody around you who depends on you and wants you to be successful? You have an obligation to do the best you can with what you got and to enjoy the value and the benefits of it. So anyways, can't encourage you more.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. It's 2:37. We always go over. We got to try to get that tight, but with just so much to share. We look to always leave LinkTank, leave you with one idea that you get from LinkTank. 20 minutes, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. What am I doing here?
Tuesday,
20 minutes.
Tuesday, Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Tuesday, Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, LinkTank. We want to leave you with one idea that you can take away from this training. Go put it to use. So today we covered a lot. There's a lot of stuff that you can easily do. Do it. And then more importantly, share the results with Don and I. Text us, message us, tell them what's going on, because we want to help you. And we'll see you inside our coaching and mastermind program, LinkTank. The link's there to get involved. Right now is a great time. And everyone have a great week. We'll see you on Friday.
Friday, 3 days from now. And if anything, it shows me and Mike are all about over-serving, whether we go over our time, whether we give more than most people expect. But that's our way of showing appreciation. So thank everybody. I just started a newsletter yesterday. If you want to subscribe, feel free. And we'll see you on Friday, and bring some friends with you. They'll never, ever stop thanking you.
All right. Have a great week. Thanks.